The F-15 Sea Eagle was the undisputed king of the skies during the Iraq War. Designed purely for air superiority, this aircraft entered Iraq's airspace with one mission: total control of the sky. From the opening hours of Operation Desert Storm in 1991 to later operations during Operation Iraqi Freedom, the F-15°C ensured that Iraqi aircraft never stood a chance. Powered by two Pratt & Whitney F-100 engines, the F-15°C could exceed Mach 2.5, climb faster than almost any opponent, and engage targets long before being detected. Its AN APG-63 radar allowed pilots to track multiple targets at extreme ranges, making it lethal in beyond visual range combat. During Desert Storm, Iraqi pilots often fled or refused to engage once F-15Cs entered the area. The Eagle achieved the majority of U.S. air-to-air kills, shooting down MiG-21s, MiG-23s, MiG-25s, and Mirage F-1s, without a single air-to-air loss. A-10 with AIM-7 Sparrow and AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles, the F-15°C dominated engagements before the enemy even knew it was under attack. Even if combat reached close range, the Eagle's maneuverability and internal M61 Vulcan cannon ensured victory. W.T. made the F-15°C truly legendary was its record. Over 100 confirmed kills globally, 0 losses in aerial combat. In Iraq, it guaranteed air superiority, allowing strike aircraft like F-16s, A-10 seconds, and bombers to operate freely. Without the F-15°C, coalition air operations would have faced serious resistance. With it, Iraq's air force was neutralized in days. While the F-15°C ruled the skies, the F-15E Strike Eagle ruled the battlefield below. Designed as a deep strike, all-weather attack aircraft, the Strike Eagle combined fighter speed with bomber-level payload capacity. During the Iraq War, the F-15E became one of the most feared aircraft in the coalition arsenal. It could fly long distances at low altitude, penetrate heavily defended airspace, strike high-value targets, and return safely, often in a single mission. Equipped with the Lantern targeting system, the F-15E could operate at night and in bad weather with deadly accuracy. Iraqi command bunkers, bridges, radar sites, and Scud missile launchers were primary targets. The Strike Eagle carried massive weapons, load, JDAMs, laser-guided bombs, bunker busters, and air-to-air missiles for self-defense. Unlike traditional bombers, it could defend itself and even score aerial kills, if necessary. One of its most critical roles was hunting Scud missile launchers, which threatened coalition forces and neighboring countries. These missions were dangerous, requiring long hours over hostile territory, yet the F-15E proved remarkably survivable. By the time Operation Iraqi Freedom began in 2003, the Strike Eagle was even more advanced, using GPS-guided munitions for near-perfect accuracy. It could strike targets within meters, reducing collateral damage while maximizing effectiveness. The F-15E was not just a bomber, it was a precision strike weapon that shaped the outcome of the war. The F-16 Fighting Falcon was the backbone of U.S. air operations during the Iraq War. Affordable, versatile, and deadly, the F-16 flew more missions than almost any other aircraft in the conflict. Originally designed as a lightweight fighter, the F-16 evolved into a true multi-role aircraft. In Iraq, it performed air patrols, close air support, suppression of enemy air defenses, and precision strike missions. Its fly-by-wire controls and bubble canopy gave pilots unmatched visibility and agility. When combined with modern targeting pods and smart weapons, the F-16 became a precision killer. During both Desert Storm and Iraqi Freedom, F-16s destroyed air defense systems, armored vehicles, artillery positions, and infrastructure targets. They were often the first aircraft into contested areas and the last to leave. The F-16's ability to carry JDAMs and laser-guided bombs allowed it to hit targets accurately while minimizing civilian casualties. It also carried AIM-120 missiles to defend itself from enemy aircraft. What truly made the F-16 special was numbers. Hundreds were deployed, ensuring constant air presence over Iraq. If ground troops needed help, an F-16 was often minutes away. Reliable, deadly, and flexible, the Fighting Falcon proved why it remains one of the most successful fighter aircraft in history. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, better known as the Warthog, became one of the most feared aircraft during the Iraq War. Designed specifically for close air support, the A-10's sole purpose was simple: destroy enemy forces threatening troops on the ground. Unlike fast jets, the A-10 was built to fly low and slow, giving pilots the ability to visually identify targets. Its titanium bathtub cockpit protected the pilot from small arms fire and even anti-aircraft shells, making it extremely survivable over hostile territory. The heart of the A-10 was its massive GAU-8 A Avenger 30mm cannon, capable of firing nearly 4,000 rounds per minute. The sound alone struck fear into enemy forces. Iraqi tanks, armored vehicles, and troop formations were shredded within seconds. During Operation Desert Storm, A-10s destroyed thousands of Iraqi vehicles, including tanks, artillery, and trucks. Even when hit by enemy fire, many A-10s returned safely with heavy damage. In Operation Iraqi Freedom, the Warthog continued to protect coalition ground forces. It loitered over battlefields for long periods, responding instantly to troops in contact. Precision-guided bombs and rockets enhanced its already devastating firepower. The A-10 became legendary among soldiers on the ground, who trusted it more than any other aircraft. When the Warthog arrived, the battlefield changed instantly. The B-52 Stratofortress was already decades old during the Iraq War, yet it remained one of the most powerful weapons in the US arsenal. Designed during the Cold War, this massive bomber proved that age did not equal obsolescence. Flying at high altitude, the B-52 delivered overwhelming firepower. During Desert Storm, it dropped enormous bomb loads on Iraqi troop concentrations, supply routes, and defensive positions, often breaking enemy morale before ground forces even arrived. Its ability to carry both conventional bombs and precision-guided munitions made it incredibly versatile. Entire Iraqi units surrendered after experiencing B-52 bombing campaigns. In Operation Iraqi Freedom, the B-52 was modernized with GPS-guided JDAMs, allowing pinpoint accuracy. Instead of carpet bombing, it could strike individual targets with devastating effect. One B-52 could loiter for hours and strike multiple targets in a single mission. Its psychological impact was just as powerful as its physical destruction. Despite enemy air defenses, the Stratofortress operated safely due to air superiority established by fighters like the F-15 and F-16. The B-52 proved that strategic bombers still had a vital role in modern warfare. The B-1 Billion Lancer brought speed, stealth, and massive payload capacity to the Iraq War. Originally designed to penetrate Soviet airspace, it found a new role as a precision strike bomber. Capable of flying at near supersonic speeds and low altitude, the B-1 Billion avoided enemy radar while delivering huge amounts of firepower. During Operation Iraqi Freedom, it became one of the most heavily used bombers. The Lancer carried more bombs than any other US aircraft, allowing it to strike dozens of targets in a single mission. With GPS-guided JDAMs, its accuracy matched its destructive potential. Its long endurance allowed it to support ground forces across Iraq for extended periods. When troops requested air support, the B-1 Billion could respond rapidly with overwhelming force. Unlike older bombers, the B-1 Billion was flexible, able to adapt to changing targets mid-mission. This made it invaluable in fast-moving combat environments. The B-1 Billion proved that speed and payload together could dominate the modern battlefield. The B-2 Spirit represented the most advanced air power ever used in the Iraq War. This stealth bomber was designed to penetrate the most heavily defended airspace on Earth, and in Iraq, it demonstrated the future of warfare. Unlike traditional bombers, the B-2 was nearly invisible to radar. Its flying wing design, radar-absorbing materials, and precision navigation systems allowed it to strike targets deep inside Iraq without being detected. During Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003, B-2 bombers flew directly from the United States to Iraq, struck targets with pinpoint accuracy, and returned without landing overseas. These missions lasted over 40 hours, showing unmatched global reach. The B-2 carried GPS-guided JDAMs, allowing it to destroy hardened bunkers, command centers, and air defense nodes during the opening hours of the war. These early strikes crippled Iraqi leadership and communication networks. Each B-2 could hit multiple targets in a single mission, replacing dozens of older bombers. Its precision minimized collateral damage while maximizing strategic impact. The psychological effect of the B-2 was enormous. Iraq's air defenses were effectively useless against it. The Spirit proved that stealth was no longer experimental. It was decisive. The F-A-18 Hornet was the backbone of U.S. Navy air operations during the Iraq War. Operating from aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf, it provided constant air power without relying on land bases. Designed as a true multi-role fighter, the Hornet performed air-to-air combat, ground attack, and close air support. Its ability to switch roles mid-mission made it extremely valuable. During Desert Storm and later Iraqi freedom, F-A-18 struck airfields, radar stations, armored units, and infrastructure targets. They were among the first aircraft to attack Iraqi defenses. The Hornet's advanced avionics, radar, and targeting pods allowed precision strikes in all weather conditions. It also carried AIM-9 and AIM-120 missiles to defend itself in aerial combat. Carrier operations added another level of difficulty, yet the Hornet proved exceptionally reliable. It flew thousands of sorties with high mission success rates. For the Navy, the F-A-18 ensured air dominance far from home ports, proving the power of carrier-based aviation in modern war. The AC-130 Spectre was one of the most terrifying aircraft to face during the Iraq War. Designed for precision fire support, this gunship turned the night sky into a battlefield nightmare. Equipped with side-firing cannons, including 25mm, 40mm, and 105mm guns, the AC-130 could orbit a target and deliver continuous, accurate fire. Enemy forces had little chance of escape. During both Desert Storm and Iraqi freedom, AC-13 OHS supported special forces, protected convoys, and destroyed enemy positions in urban and desert environments. Advanced sensors, infrared cameras, and targeting systems allowed the gunship to operate at night with extreme accuracy. Ground troops, often called the AC-130, when situations became desperate. Because of its size and vulnerability to advanced air defenses, the AC-130 operated only after air superiority was achieved. Once deployed, it dominated the battlefield. The psychological impact was immense. The presence of an AC-130 often ended battles before they fully began. The IH-64 Apache was one of the most decisive weapons of the Iraq War, dominating the battlefield at low altitude. Designed to hunt tanks and provide close fire support, the Apache became a symbol of American battlefield control. Armed with a 30mm chain gun, Hellfire missiles, and rocket pods, the Apache could destroy armored vehicles with surgical precision. Its advanced sensors, night vision systems, and targeting radar allowed it to operate day or night in all weather conditions. During Operation Desert Storm, Apaches launched the very first shots of the war, destroying Iraqi radar stations and opening corridors for coalition aircraft. This single mission played a critical role in achieving early air superiority. In Operation Iraqi Freedom, Apaches provided constant support to ground forces, escorting convoys and striking enemy positions in urban and desert environments. However, Iraq's dense small arms fire proved dangerous, forcing tactical changes and improved coordination. Despite threats, the Apache remained lethal. Its ability to hover, strike, and relocate quickly made it invaluable in close combat situations. For ground troops, the Apache was often the difference between success and failure on the battlefield. The A-60 Blackhawk was the backbone of U.S. helicopter operations during the Iraq War. While not as heavily armed as the Apache, it was equally important, carrying troops, evacuating wounded soldiers, and delivering supplies under fire. Designed for reliability and survivability, the Black Hawk could operate in extreme heat and hostile conditions. It featured armor protection, defensive countermeasures, and door-mounted machine guns. Throughout Iraq, Black Hawks transported infantry into combat zones, extracted special forces teams, and performed countless medical evacuation missions. Many lives were saved because of its speed and dependability. Urban combat posed serious risks, including small arms fire and RPGs. Yet the Black Hawk continued flying daily missions. Crews adapted tactics to minimize exposure and maximize safety. Without the A-60, large-scale ground operations in Iraq would have been impossible. It was the logistical lifeline of the war. The CH-47 Chinook was the heavy lifter of the Iraq War. Recognizable by its twin-rotor design, this helicopter was essential for transporting troops, vehicles, artillery, and supplies across vast distances. Capable of carrying heavy loads both internally and externally, The Chinook enabled rapid movement of forces in a theater where roads were often unsafe. In Iraq, Chinooks supported air assaults, logistics missions, and humanitarian operations. They often flew at night to reduce risk, relying on advanced navigation systems. Despite its size, the Chinook proved surprisingly fast and agile. Enemy fire was a constant threat, yet its redundancy and toughness allowed it to survive damage and continue flying. From combat resupply to disaster relief, the CH-47 demonstrated unmatched versatility and endurance.